The 40% yield reality. Intel reportedly resolved its wafer-to-wafer yield variability on the 18A node this week, but the celebration in Santa Clara ignores a brutal manufacturing math. While analysts at Bluefin claim production is ramping to 30,000 wafers per month across Oregon and Arizona, the estimated absolute yield still hovers near 40%. For context, TSMC is already yielding north of 70% on its rival N2 node at significantly higher densities. Pat Gelsinger is betting that solving variability is the first step to economic viability, but until those defect rates drop, Intel is essentially burning half its silicon just to stay in the race. This yield gap is precisely why the next upgrade to the 18AP process is no longer optional for external customers like Microsoft. The PowerVia Thermal Tax. Intel is currently the only foundry shipping backside power delivery at scale, a move intended to leapfrog TSMC in power efficiency. By moving the power delivery network to the back of the wafer, they have reduced voltage droop by 10 times, but this architectural shift comes with a hidden thermal tax. Delivering power directly to the transistor layer creates concentrated heat zones that traditional cooling cannot easily reach. We are seeing early reports that 18A chips require nearly 40% more thermal management overhead compared to equivalent nodes. This is why the mobile market remains hesitant, while data center customers like AWS are leaning in. If Intel cannot solve the heat density problem, 18A will remain a server-only victory, making the performance gains of the 18AP variant critical for winning back the high-end consumer market. The internal foundry accounting trap. Intel Foundry reported a $2.4 billion operating loss last quarter, yet the stock is trading near a 25-year high because of a specific accounting pivot. By separating the foundry from the product groups, Intel is essentially charging itself for its own manufacturing mistakes. This creates an internal transfer price firewall that protects the margins of the Core, Ultra, and Xeon lines, while burying the true cost of 18A development in the foundry's red ink. It is a necessary move to attract external customers, but for investors, it makes the upcoming July 23rd earnings call a shell game. You have to look past the healthy product margins and focus on the foundry's capital expenditure, which is currently consuming $20 billion a year in depreciation alone. This massive cash burn is the price of entry for the only Western alternative to Taiwan. The signal under the noise. The real story of 18A is not technical parity with TSMC, but the emergence of a subsidized geopolitical fortress. Between the $5 billion equity injection from NVIDIA and the ongoing risk production of 18AP, Intel has successfully transformed itself into an insurance policy for the U.S. government and big tech. By solving the wafer variability issues and securing commitments from the Department of Defense, Intel is building a floor for its foundry business that does not depend on beating TSMC on density. The roadmap from 18A to the 14A node is no longer about regaining the crown, but about providing a high-volume domestic fallback for companies terrified of a single-source supply chain. Watch the gross margin guidance on the July 23rd report. If they can hold the line at 39% while ramping 18A, the foundry pivot is no longer a gamble, but a permanent fixture of the semiconductor landscape. The next major indicator will be the first confirmed tape-out for the 14A node in early 2027. Subscribe for more